Hello, my name's Julie Williams. I'm a registered migration agent with Migration Downunder, and I'm here today to talk to you about the skilled migration. There's a lot of different categories for skilled migration. The independent, it's 189, the state nomination is 190, or there's the 491, or the 494, which is more employer-sponsored. What are the differences, you may ask? Well, the subclass 189 is an independent category. You don't need a sponsor, you don't need to be nominated by an employer, you don't need to be nominated by a state or territory. You can apply independently as long as your occupation is on the list and you've got points to be able to do so. However, be aware that if you're overseas currently, the 189 is not being considered, and the 189 in Australia is being looked at in very small numbers for the high target sectors, mainly engineering. So the 189 is not a great viable option at this moment. The government are more emphasis through employer sponsored, otherwise state nominated. So the 190 is state nominated. The 190 is also points-based application and requires you to be nominated by a state or territory. So it's up to the state or territory what their requirements and criteria are as whether you meet the requirements to be able to nominate yourself under the 190. It's very competitive, and more often than not, you need to be working in your nominated occupation in that state or territory to be considered. The subclass 491 is a provisional visa. It's also state or territory nominated, and it is a provisional visa that after 3 years you can proceed through to permanent residency. The 491 is for regional state nomination. So regional is classified anywhere outside of Melbourne, Sydney or Brisbane. And if you're working and residing in those in those areas, you may consider the 491 because it's a great pathway to permanent residency, especially if your nominated occupation may not be on the mainstream 190 list, but it's on the state or territory occupation target list for the 491. I also mentioned very briefly the 494. It's very similar to the 491, but it is employer sponsored and the employer must be based in that regional area. So those options are all points based. They all require a skills assessment, and more often than not, they require you to be working in that nominated occupation. Do subscribe to our social media channels to keep up to date with the ever-changing immigration law in Australia, and especially the skilled migration pathways. If you'd like a little bit more of assistance or advice, don't hesitate in giving us a call to book in a consultation so that we can talk through your options and your pathways for permanent residency here in Australia.